Welcome to Talk with Tara, the podcast where we dive into the bold, the funny, and the fascinating. I'm Tara, your host, bringing you unfiltered conversation on life, love, and everything in between. Hit that follow button so you're always in the loop. And now, let's get started. I am so excited to have you, Walking Crow.
Hello. Well, thanks for having me.
Great. So before we get started, I wanted to give a real quick bio about Walking Crow. He's such an interesting man. I read his book, which I would like to share with you. Transformation of a Walking Crow. It was a quick read. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of sad parts, but the end and the middle is very inspiring. Walking Crow is a shamanic healer, life coach, and medicine man and author dedicated to guiding others through transformation and healing. Using shamanic drumming, he helps people connect with the spirit guides, gifts, and inner wisdom. As a master drum maker, he channels sacred drum medicine, crafting ceremonial drums, and leading drum birthing ceremonies worldwide. Through his teachings on the chakra system and emotional energy, he helps individuals release trauma and find peace. Join me as we explore his powerful healing work and wisdom behind the sacred drum. Many of us are going through transition, and I thought that Walking Crow would be the perfect guest to bring a lens into how you can transform from fear to courage. Before we get started, Walking Crow, can you please tell us a little bit about your journey and how you became a transformational shamanic healer and a medicine man? And also for those who are listening, they may not know what a shaman is. If you could please explain to our listeners what a shaman is, that would be wonderful.
Well, a shaman, for me, I'm going to say it this way. A shaman is what a shaman was. For me, shamanism is somebody, a person, whether a man or woman, who live in their duality of divine feminine receiving and divine masculine giving. They understand the aspects of the duality of both. And when the duality of receiving is given to by the duality of the male energy giving in the center, I become she, man, Sha, man. As a shaman, I have understanding of things that I never studied. I never knew. My whole life I went through life like this. I don't know. I was a less than average student. I didn't get my GED till I was 50, which is when I started on my shamanic pathway. And originally had a energy healing that I was gifted by a girlfriend at the time. That energy healing session is the reason that I'm sitting with you today. The session, I felt hands all over me. I felt all these things in my body. I felt her touch my kidneys, and when she pulled away, I felt my kidneys stretch, and I had pain when she pulled away. When she finished the energy healing, she was holding on to my feet, but I heard her walk by me, by the table, out the door, down the hall, to pour water, to wash her hands, and walk back. And meanwhile, she was still holding my feet. She had me sit up, and when she had me sit up, I felt like I had been unzipped from here across my chest, down and down the bottom of my gut, and on the backside as well. And I felt like I was totally exposed, and I couldn't stop crying. So I drove down the road another couple of blocks, and I pulled into this parking lot in Highland Park, California, of this Mexican market to call my girlfriend to tell her that I was on my way home. And as I started to talk to her, I started to cry, and I started to cry. I sat in that parking lot for 2 hours, unable to stop crying. And she said, "Why don't I come there to be with you?" I said, "No, just let me have this experience." And that was actually one of the first times I had actually allowed myself or felt into having an emotional experience that powerful. And from that point, I felt a lot of release because I had been holding the pain, right? My fifth chakra, my block. I've been holding all of that bondage for a lifetime. And I didn't know it that night, but I learned it later that I was beginning to say yes to myself after a lifetime of no's.
Right. And today you're in Sedona, just for our listeners. So Walking Crow lives in Sedona now, and that's where he practices energy healing and drum birthing and a number of spiritual modalities. So tell us about, you had this amazing experience. And it seems like you had a spirit animal or some kind of vision.
It's
Right.
I still have that spirit animal here.
And can you tell our listeners what a spirit animal is?
A spirit animal is something that is a helper, or you help it to help you on your spiritual journey. I have many spirit animals. One of my first ones was owl medicine, because I would talk to people, and I still do. I do soul retrievals. And when I talk to people, I will look at you, and I will look at your body, and I will look at your mannerisms, and I will hear what you say. And I can see where, some people talk about the aura or the chakras. I look at your body, I can see where your history is in your body, why you have any dis-ease or whatever you may have done to your body, augment or what. I can see why you did that, and I will ask you about it if I have permission, and I'll start to pull the thread of the sweater, and I'll start to unravel and take you back to ground zero, to your trauma, your drama, your shame, your hurt, your wound, whatever it is. But those animals are with us to protect us. Owl tells me that I have the wisdom to see into the darkness when you're not telling me the truth, or once you give me permission to see into your darkness, to help you pull that out or see it plainly. Different as spirit animals serve for different purposes. So my first day at Energy Healing School, and by the way, the Energy Healing School that I went to the school itself was in Studio City, California. I signed up for classes. They sent me to San Fernando, California, which is across the valley in San Fernando, in Los Angeles area. And I was born in San Fernando.
Right.
And when I got there, I didn't want to drive up the driveway, because that was ground zero for me at 5 years old. That was a kindergarten Catholic school that I was abused, slapped, hit, pulled my hair, pulled my arm, pinched my skin. And I decided to do it and go in. And I was terrified. But at the break, while on my first day of Energy Healing School, I took a walk. I came around a curve of a fountain, and there is a hawk, a red-tailed hawk, standing on the ground in front of me. Now, mind you, I don't know what a spirit animal is. I had never heard of such a thing. I don't care how native I am. I'm from LA. I'm an urban native. I had never heard of such a thing, right? So I stood there looking at it, and I thought to myself, what should I know? And as we stood there looking at each other, she turned and flapped her wings and flew off into the palm trees that were all over the property. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. I turned around to walk back into class, and there was a hawk feather sitting on the grass, which I still have to this day. So that was really my first experience with the spirit animal, and I didn't even know I was having an experience.
That's amazing. You've been through so much transformation. I read your book, like I said, and you had such a rough childhood with alcoholism, and you've been sober for 33 years, I believe.
33.
Is that right? 33 years. And it's funny, I did tell Crow when I first received his book in the mail, I opened it up, and I hadn't checked my mailbox because I was out of town. I got home, I opened it up, and it was Super Bowl Sunday. And the first page I opened up, I just kind of like leafed through it, and I just picked a place. And it said, I became sober on Super Bowl Sunday. And I actually texted you that. I thought it was really funny how I opened up that one page where you had decided to stop drinking. And one of the things we were talking about offline was my favorite prayer, which I use. And I just believe in surrendering to the universe. Sometimes it's hard to do that. It's really hard to surrender. I'm a very controlling person. So giving up my power and just letting the universe kind of guide me to where I'm supposed to go is always a challenge for me. But I love this. I have a male friend who's going through a divorce right now. And I texted him, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Can you tell me what your thoughts are on the Serenity Prayer and how you used it in your life? Because for me, it's very meaningful.
I have many thoughts in the Serenity Prayer, and I really think it saved my spiritual life. It took the wind out of my sails when I was a blowhard, and I thought I knew it all, right? But I pray in a different way from almost the moment I got into Alcoholics Anonymous. I thought that was an occult, and it may very well may be, but it gave me the foundation that I needed to become Walking Crow years and years later. And the Serenity Prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Well, I prayed it, God grant me the serenity to expect the things I cannot change, because things have been happening in my life which I had no control over. And people would look at me as I was holding hands at the end of meetings like I was making fun of the prayer, but I wasn't. I was dead serious, because if you see a bumper sticker that says stuff happens or Murphy's Law, you believe in Murphy's Law,
Right.
I can pray the prayer like I want to. I surrender myself to my willingness and to my awareness of whatever the possibilities can be, because I never knew that I had possibilities. I had low or no self-esteem.
Yeah.
Where would I get those from?
How did you change that? Because many people who are listening to this podcast may have low self-esteem. They may feel beaten down. They may feel they may be stuck in a situation. And how do you change that? How do you get the self-esteem? How do you get to the next stage?
You know, we are raised in a particular way of speaking, acting, talking. I mean, it comes from our family, our schools, our police, our televisions, our teachers, all those people who have responsibility for this responsibility, for that responsibility, have been irresponsible with their responsibility of us. I was taught to speak to and of myself in a poor way. So I changed my language. I never tell myself I can't. I never tell myself I don't. I never tell myself I won't. I don't talk about thinking. I'm not dumb. I'm none of those things. I said yes, decided to say yes to myself after a lifetime of no's. I stopped chasing other people's ideas for themselves. For me, I am none of your business and you are none of mine till you make you my business. So I had to change this. The Bible says, as a man speaketh, so is he in his heart. The Bible also says we are of dirty rags. No, I'm not. How dare you? Right. If I'm a child of a God, the universe, the stars, whatever the concept of God is to you, I'm perfection in my imperfection. So why can't I get better, be better, do better, say better, just because you look at me the way you do? No, thank you. I turn my back on that. And I've taken a lot of heat for the way, even Alcoholics Anonymous. I haven't been to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting for years, because one day I heard this: listen to the still small voice. I heard that message because some guy across the room was going on and on and on again. Oh man, the gifts that keep on giving. So I got up, I left, and I never came back, because I empowered myself to be more, say more, care more, love more. It's all about me. It's not about you. If you don't like it, too bad, you know?
Yeah, but how did you get to that? That's a really hard place to get to for a lot of people. Was it a slow evolution?
It was slow going. I mean, people would get upset with me and not want to be my friends. And it was just, I started paying attention to what I was hearing. Not hear, H-E-A-R, but H-E-A-R.
In your heart.
I started to listen to my language and tell me, no, that's not okay. You're not fat. You're not that black. I was always told I was fat, black. My teeth were yellow, blah, blah. I wasn't given a chance to even dog paddle. But in my lifetime, I found myself dog paddling as I became the healer and not being able to get out of the pool from the shallow end. And I all of a sudden found myself broad stroking my way through life and not giving a darn about what anybody thought of their opinions of me, because I had to either give myself the things that my heart and soul wanted or just go back to drinking and using. So I chose me. And choosing you is not the easiest thing. Learning to change your language about what we're doing. I'm really cognizant of the way that I speak, because no one was cognizant of the little boy who needed to be picked up, uppy, 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 for a lifetime. I've been married 3 times. I had a lousy relationship with my mother for a long time. I had a drunken father. All those things led up to just this guy who I didn't know how to be in a relationship. I didn't know how to stay sober.
Right.
So I taught myself how to be in a relationship with little Anthony, who became Walking Crow, who became Walking Crow, transformational sacred drum medicine.
Yeah, I'd love to get into 2 things: energy healing, what is energy, and also drum medicine. I'd like to know more about drum medicine and how it heals. And do you do the drum medicine? Do people usually do it with like an ayahuasca ceremony, or is it just more just musical? Or I'm really curious.
I don't know what anybody else does, because there's a lot of people who do a lot of things out there that I'm like, what's that? With me, you can sit in a sacred circle, and the circle is always sacred with me because the drum is a sacred circle, right? The moon is a sacred circle. The sun is a sacred circle. You can sit with me in medicine songs and in a medicine song circle where I drum, and you sit or you lay down, and you're just with the higher vibration of my voice, of the songs, the healing songs that I sing, the shamanic healing songs. These are songs that aren't traditional. These are songs that are ancient, that were given to me to heal myself, to heal that little boy, and to merge the man and the boy together from being HOLE, right, to WHOLE. Right. So when you sit with those songs, everybody has a different experience. Some tune into the drum, some tune into the messages that come through, the fire, the water, the darkness. Some people really tune into the song and how it makes them feel. And they have a lot of emotion that is released, or later on, I get phone calls about this happened after I left you, or that happened, or whatever it is. And then if you come for a shamanic session with me, I will pray over you, I will rattle over you, and then I will drum for about 10 minutes and send your body into a state of bliss, connecting with the heart. We're aligning the drum with your heart. And the fact that I do work with the drum is because I want to honor the divine feminine, whence I came. They are where all peoples come from. Not a man, not the patriarchy. Nope, men should understand how powerful women are, and they don't. It makes me emotional, right? Oceanal, direction of the west, direction of the woman, direction of the ocean, direction of emotion. EMOCEAN. It's again where we're birthed. It's where we birth. It's where divine feminine come together with divine masculine, all in the sacrum. Men, that doesn't happen in the ego with men. Women are the divine container. I refer to them as the divine container, the passageway from darkness to light. Darkness to light, darkness.
Yeah, there were a lot of women in your history that moved you to where you are today. I noticed that in your book. I mean, you had a lot of women who really meant a lot to you in your life. And actually, that's why you're in Sedona. You met, I believe her name was Mina, and she happened to live in Sedona, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I was working in Los Angeles in Eagle Rock, and I meet this woman named Mina, and I'd never heard of Sedona, and we're talking, and she was cute, and I was doing my thing. But at the same time, I was working for Sprouts in the vitamin department. I say doing push-ups, my spiritual work, because people would come in to buy something, and I'd say, no, you don't need that. I would read them and then give them instructions, and they would leave with nothing in their hands. So,
oh gosh.
Mina came in, and her and I met, and then she came in again. I met her boyfriend because her boyfriend, he wanted to. And her and I had a meeting.
Make sure you weren't making a play.
Well, he knew I was making a play. That's why he came in. And saying that, I love women. I love women, but the reason, and I understand why I love women so much. I love my mother, but I was never picked up by my mother, right? I was never held, and I want to be held. I've longed to be held. I haven't been in a real relationship for about 5 years. Yeah, maybe more. And It's because I am learning how to hold and be held myself,
Right.
how to be present in the gift of the presence of myself, so I can offer that to somebody else. Because, like they say in AA, you can't give away what you haven't got, right? So I love women, and these women have gifted me. All my tight knit circle here in Sedona, they're all women. They're all partnered. They all have
Yes.
partners, and their partners trust the walking crow man that I am. And I'm honored
Yes. Yeah.
to wear that label of trust, because I was the guy that wasn't trustworthy. So I meet Mina,
Right. Right.
right? And she invites me to Sedona.
Yes.
Hey, if you're come stay at my place. So I did that. And one night,
And then you fell in love with Sedona.
I began that journey to fall in love with Sedona, because I was in Sedona to do a fire ceremony for a retreat. And I didn't know what Sedona was. And I came in, I did fire ceremony.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
became a series of eventually coming to live in Sedona. Donna Haynes found me at an arts fair selling drums. She worked for Stephen Yang, and Stephen Yang owned the Skyrockin Hotel of Sedona. She asked me to come and do something there, and I came and I said, why don't I sing 45 minutes of medicine songs in the lobby? We lit the fireplace. I sang my songs, and there was dead silence in the lobby. And you could hear
Wow.
the sniffling of the tears, And people were like, what did you do? I said, I did what I do. And the people did. I did not sing the songs in English. I sang them in the ancient languages that I'm giving them in. And your ears may not understand them, but your heart understands what I'm singing to it, what I'm saying to it. I'm giving it permission to free itself from the bondage of a lifetime of suffering. I choose not to suffer anymore. And that's how I changed. I chose not to suffer.
Not to suffer. You made a choice, is what you're saying. You just made a choice.
And
You're going to
yesterday,
put your oxygen mask on first.
yesterday was Tuesday. And I often do videos that say,
Right.
choose something today that's different from yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade, last lifetime. But choose something different or better for yourself and others. Tuesday.
So do you believe in past lives,
I don't know.
Crow? Yeah.
And when people ask me about past lives or Akashic records, I say, you can't even live this life. Mind your own present, right? As soon as you go into past lives or Akashic records, you're up in here. You're no longer grounded. You're no longer in your feet, in the elements of the body, air, water, fire, water, earth. You're up in the ethers. You can't taste it, smell it, eat it, drink it. But this is where we live. And while we're up in here, we're developing lung cancer, uterine cancer, UTIs, varicose veins, a myriad of problems with the body, which we attribute to accidents and this and that. No. Pay attention to your life. When I start asking you about your life and your injuries and your hurts, wounds, and shames, I'm reading your body, and I will take you back to ground zero from where those things came from. Moving forward, we are splintered over and over. I was splintered over and over again. Am I completely healthy? I don't know. Do I continue to do my work? Absolutely. And that's what I'm doing with you. I'm doing my work, just sharing with you.
So tell us about energy. What is energy? What is energy healing? How does it work?
Well, energy is everything. You can't make it and you can't destroy it. It is. Sound is energy, light is energy, breath is energy, water, fire, moon, sun, it's all energy. If you come into your awareness of what your energy does and how you react to energy. So I've learned to attune myself to the energy, to my energy, just allow myself to feel that little bit of pressure between my hands, right? And to understand what it is. And it's just me. My energy does not stop, here. it stops 7 layers out. It's big. Yours is big, right?
Right.
And I mean, when I talked to Stephen and he mentioned your name and he talked about you in a big way. That's big energy. I was like,
Yeah, he says I have a lot of energy.
right? Yeah. And
Yes.
but also Stephen from his lineage, they understand energy because I was taught the Eastern philosophy of energy, whether it was India or China, chi, prana, with the Indians from India and the Japanese and the Chinese and the Koreans. There is a humility and an honor of their knowledge of the energy within and without. Where we want to give it a name. Americans don't know how to be in their simplicity of chi, prana, energy.
Well, how do you think you heal someone's energy?
I don't
So
heal
you
their
feel their
energy.
energy.
Yeah, I feel their energy. I don't heal them. I'm what I call a way shower because I explain to them what's going on in their
Interesting.
body, what I feel and what
Got
I
it.
feel and see and hear from their body, and by the questions that I ask about what happened when they were 2, where's your father? Well, he left when my mom was still pregnant. Oh, no wonder you can't keep a job and you don't have foundation. You don't have roots, right? Or somebody who is a military child who they always traveled around and there was never any certainty. There was never any rooting so they could fruit, right? It's just a matter of asking the questions based on what I feel and what I sense from their body and what I hear that I'm told, how it speaks to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to, in energy healing school, people would say, oh, wow, they've got a battle axe in them. They would do talk about all this dramatic stuff. And I was like, it can't be that dumb. Sorry. I don't mean to judge people, but I didn't buy it because I wasn't there for my ego. I don't need to make up story. I lived in story for a lifetime. What do I need to make up story so I can move forward? So I started to humble myself to my own understanding, understanding, listening, saying yes to myself after a lifetime of no's, healing the little boy from HOLE to WHOLE, learning a day at a time, an hour at a time, a minute at a time, a second at a time, what humility is, what healing is, and take it slow. I took it slow. I learned what mindfulness was. In fact, I did a hike this morning in Sedona, and I prayed the whole time. I was thanking everything. I was in my mindfulness for where I was at and what I was doing, because I had eye surgery recently and I hadn't been on a hike since November. And here I was, free of the 4 walls of my home, out on the trails in the blue sky. I was just in gratitude for my surroundings and my smallness and my bigness within the picture of it all.
You mentioned that you, on your hikes, you often pick sage and you make your own sage. Can you tell our listeners what sage does in smudging? Oh, there you go. There's beautiful.
Sage is an antibacterial,
smudging.
Right? It's an antibacterial and it clears energy. It's also good as a tea. It's good for pulmonary. When I say pulmonary, heart, lungs, air. I'm loved, or heart, lungs, air. I don't have the capacity to love. I don't have the capacity to be loved. So it's important. I take it into my nose. That goes into my lungs. I breathe it out my mouth and clear space, cleanse space, so I can have good words. And I can say something like palabra, word, and be still, because the next thing out of my mouth will be truth. It better be truth. So I smudge me and cleanse myself of any energies that are unnecessary, not good or bad, but unnecessary energies. If you walk into my house for the first time, people go, "Man, what do you do?" I said, I'm a medicine man. Why is it so common here?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm common here. I come in here, I'm
Right.
common here. And I'm common. I'm just a common person in here. That wordplay is important
Right.
because it tells a story about
Right.
what I am and who and what I want to be because I never knew how to be. The acceptance of me,
Right.
of my own presence. So sage clears the energy. It allows you to break free
Mm-hmm.
of beliefs that aren't right.
Okay,
Oh,
that's good. I have some sage at home.
and
Yeah,
I
I'll
got
have to
to
give it
tell
as
you,
gifts.
I just sent 4 sticks of sage to a young lady who's had esophagus a situation. She has cancer. She was raped twice within 30
Oh,
days. So I understand what's
oh,
going on in her body. And late last night, the night before last, she had a procedure yesterday for her esophagus to stretch it. And the night before, she
uh-huh.
was on the phone with me and she was asking me to what she could do and to pray and all this stuff. And today she reached out again. I assured her that I sent the sage out, but she asked me what she could do for herself. So I gave her tidbits that doctors aren't going to give her. I said, put an ice cube in your mouth and allow it to melt slowly and gently into your throat and esophagus. Why didn't the
Oh,
doctor give her pain medications? So I told her I have bear root. I have bear root, which is pulmonary, heart, lungs, air. I love them, love. She's got a broken heart. This is why she has the esophagus issue. It's in that area, right? So I said, I will send you bear root, right? I'll send you bear root. You can make a tea or you can chew on a piece of it so it constantly trickles down and helps with your pain. Bear root is a native
oh,
medicine that I was introduced to. And I just ordered some from a friend of mine in Peebles, Ohio at the Serpent Mound, my friend Thomas Johnson. And, I get to send her some of that tomorrow as well, or later today. But I sent her sage because she needs to be cleared. She needs to clear her house. She may even need to clear her husband because the way I'm hearing her speak, she said a neighbor took her to her procedure yesterday. And my first thought was, well, where's her husband
wow.
in all this? And they
Yeah.
may have a good
Mm-hmm.
relationship, but they should have a better relationship where he should have been present. In my overblown ego opinion, he should have been present for her. I don't know. Whenever my wives were ill, I was there. In fact, my wife, my former partner, she was having a lot of physical issues, but it was pulmonary. And what I understood is it was time
Mm-hmm.
for us to break up. There was something happening in the marriage, and I got angry and I said things that I shouldn't have because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't see it for what it was.
Right.
It was okay to separate. It was okay for her to have those feelings. And it was okay for me to get angry, but not to take it out on her. So I learned a lot in
Right.
that process. And
Yeah.
I sage
You
every
you
day.
you actually started a yeah. You actually started a divorce group. I don't know,
Divorce
maybe
recovery.
I don't know, was it 20 years ago?
It
Yeah, divorce
was,
recovery. What are did can any tips you can give people going through a divorce from that divorce recovery group?
this is what I learned. Nope. So we started the class, and the first day there was 30 some, maybe 40 some people in there. Most of them married.
Wow, that's a lot.
40 years, 30
Wow.
years, 20 years, 15 years. And Pastor Steve had us go around the room and give our names and tell what happened in our marriages. And it came to me and I said, my name is Anthony. I married the sex and the sex divorced me.
Uh-huh. Right.
My friend
Yeah.
came up to me after the class. She says, I can't believe you said that in a church setting. I said, why? What are we here for? I said, Mary, you've been married 4 times. What are you talking about? I said, Mary, if you're going to have sex, have sex. It's okay to have sex and say yes to yourself and take the shame out of it. Enjoy yourself. But don't say,
Right.
I love you out of
Mm-hmm.
duty or your shame or your low self-esteem. I stopped doing that a long. No, thank you. But I still didn't learn. I still got married a second and a third time. And the third time was a charm because I learned a lot. Even though we don't speak, in fact, the last time I saw that wife, I hugged her. I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. And you could tell she just wanted to run and hide because I knew her secret. I knew what she did. I knew why. And Emma, who gave me the name Walking Crow, was watching our interaction. She goes, "Do you know why she was trying to get away from me?" I said, "Oh, yeah." She says, "Do you know that she told people that we were having an affair?" I'm like, "Really?" Emma is my teacher. We would meet once a week for about 2 hours, and we would walk at the Rose Bowl and exchange conversation and growth. And I was like, wow. And she married us. Emma married us. And she was praising
She was
that
your
we were having, yeah. So I learned a lot, and I learned to forgive. I didn't learn to forget. I learned to forgive, and I forgave me first because I didn't need to carry around somebody else's stuff.
Let's talk about forgiveness. That's one thing I wanted to cover. You know, when something really bad happens to you or somebody does something really bad, it's really hard to forgive them.
Alcoholics Anonymous, they say uncover, discover, discard. I do not sweep anything under the rug. I used to. I embrace, surrender to the things that happened to me and say, okay, how am I going to learn to be with this terrible tragedy or this terrible thing? First of all, I stopped referring it to as a tragedy and terrible. It's something different that happened, and I embrace it. And as I embrace it and surrender to it, but don't give my power to it, I become empowered over that thing, like my alcoholism, like the abuse that I suffered at the hands of other people. I had to forgive my parents, right? But I had to forgive me first for carrying it. I have a friend here in Sedona named Robert. He has shoulder issues. His parents just died, both within the last 2 or 3 years. So we're sitting talking one day, having coffee. And I said, "Robert, how are your shoulders?" He goes, "Man, they're really in pain." I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Who told you your name was Atlas?" He said, "What? Who told you your name was Atlas?" Drop the rock. Let it go. Dave Mason in 1971 had an album, "Let It Go, Let It Flow like the river, let it go, let it flow through you." So that's what I do. It's not mine to carry. The more you talk about your suffering, guess what you're going to do?
You just bring it up, suffer more.
Embrace it, release it, to go where it needs to go because it doesn't need to be with me. I like to say this. AA says this. We 100 people have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, period. Walking Crow says, I, Walking Crow, have transformed from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I was never hopeless. I was only helpless. I asked for help, and I remain hopeful. 2 different sentences altogether. Powered by my own words, by my own actions, not by my stinking thinking, but by my actions of speaking it into truth, into presence, into now, into power and humility and sovereignty at the same time, which is horse medicine.
I like that. Yeah. I like that, Crow. Well, with that, this has been a really great conversation. Can you tell our listeners how they could get a hold of you? I know that you see people internationally, so how they can get a hold of you, how they can see you in Sedona, ways to reach you. I would love that. I'm also going to include it in the show notes.
Fantastic. Well, they can find me at www.sacreddrummedicine.com. You can go there and you can purchase a drum, or you could buy sessions, remote sessions, or in-person sessions in Sedona. I'm easy to find. If you go to Instagram, WalkingCrow_Sacred Drum Medicine. I have pages on YouTube where you can hear my talks and my songs. Walking Crow, Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine, and Walking Crow, Shamanic Healing Songs. And
maybe where they can find your book. I enjoyed reading your book. Is your book on Amazon? You were gifting me the book.
You could buy my book on Amazon, and if you buy it, leave a review after you read it. But you can also buy it on my website. On Amazon, it's $14.95. If you buy it on my website, you will receive a signed copy, signed personally to you. I don't generally sign them in a general way. Everything is personal to the person who is purchasing it. And the shipping is included. So it's signed copy plus shipping. And you can order as many as you like and let me know who you want those signed to, and I'll do that. And you can also get it at Ingram Books. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, Romans in Pasadena, Alexandria 2, North Figueroa Bookstore in Sedona, in the boutiques and the bookstores here in Sedona. And yeah, that's where you can find it.
Oh gosh, I can't wait to come and visit you in Sedona. It's on my bucket list. Thank you. Thank you so much, Crow, for talking to me today and to our listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the open forum, and thanks for being open to the message that I carry. And if nothing else, I hope that the people who watch this find hope in themselves, because that's what this is really about. Not hopeful about me, but hopeful about you and those that can keep, those who will hear.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to Talk with Tara. If you love today's episode, follow the show and share it with a friend. Stay tuned. There's so much more to talk about. See you next time.